Richard, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your warm welcome as well as the warm weather. Oh, warm by my comparison, weather. It's a real pleasure to be here, and it's been far too long before I got here. But I just wanted to say, reflect on your words. It is extraordinary, actually, that the United Kingdom and Australia didn't already have a defence cooperation treaty in place. That is actually not quite as much an omission as it first sounds. It's just that there is already an assumed cooperation treaty in place, even without it being formally passed. But I'm pleased that we've actually righted that small oversight today with the treaty we signed half an hour ago, which will bring us even closer together. And you're right about everything that you've just said. In fact, we met for, I guess, an hour and a half earlier, and as I came out the room, I turned to my team, and my first comment was, we could not possibly be closer, despite it being almost impossible to be geographically further apart. And by that I mean that our view and world outlook is very, very similar. Our understanding of the world order almost identical, and the need to act together never more pressing than it is today. We are living, as I said in a speech at Lancaster House in London, with your Chief of Defence Staff present back in January, in a world which has moved from a post-war world that we've always considered we've lived in to a pre-war world, where not because we're about to go to war tomorrow, I hope, but because we need to be more prepared than ever before, our stance needs to change. And there's evidence of that everywhere you look. You mentioned what's happening in Ukraine. And even though it's happening on a different continent, a long way from here, the read across is so blatantly obvious that to ignore it would be to do a disservice to everyone, no matter where they live, and particularly for those of you who happen to live in the Indo-Pacific region, where the whole world, and particularly any dictator, anyone who doesn't have to answer to voters, is looking at what happens in Ukraine and deciding whether all you need to do is outweight the West and the civilized world in order to keep what you've gained through ill-gotten means. And so I think the biggest threat that the world faces today is a sense of attention deficit from countries that believe in freedom and democracy and are prepared, therefore, we must be prepared, therefore, to make sure that that does not happen. And the battle in Ukraine, where I was the week before last speaking to Zelensky, is at the forefront. If it were the case that a autocrat could walk in, take over land, and then end up keeping that just because, although we said it couldn't happen, we lost focus and attention, and then that would read across to other parts of the world, and in particular the Indo-Pacific. And so I am hugely grateful for the leadership you've shown with the International Fund for Ukraine and helping to fund the International Fund for Ukraine. That is a financial mechanism which means that we're helping to get Ukraine what they need today to fight that battle. I just want to publicly thank you, Richard, for what you've done there.